Hello and welcome back, fellow bad strategists. Last time we dropped these tanks down. They're pretty good tanks. They're 115 structural design. Structural design never changes, and it is used, I believe, as a modifier on the roll for all these other values. Its basic design's only 85, but the cap on its basic design is the same. So when you field test a unit that's using it in combat, the percentage field testing is something like the percentage of the difference between its current basic design and its cap on basic design that you will cover in the next design. So if this guy were at 90 and its cap were 100, then 50% field testing would bring it to 95. If its cap were 120 and it were at 90, then 50% field testing would bring it to the difference is 30, so 15 points, so it would be 105. So the more the gap grows, the faster you cover the ground. So basic design being low doesn't matter. We do care about engine, weapon, and armor design a bit, but structural design is the most important in the long term. If you get a bad tank, you should still use it because you shouldn't slow yourself down. Slowing yourself down is going to hurt you a lot more in the long run. We'll put this guy there. I think we'll stand our ground. We killed a bunch of them last turn and we didn't lose anything. We will call the Eternity Movement because I think the Eternity Movement is government and democracy, and we don't mind democracy. It doesn't hurt us very badly, and we want government early on. We're gonna sit on this. It's not great. We wish we had a recycling place, but we don't. 5.42 is a good value for rare metals, but we're not going to sell them yet, and we're not going to sell our water yet. You sell things at the last moment because prices rise over the course of the game. We will retreat this unit just because we want to screen. We don't want enemies within 2 hexes of our capital. That would boost our danger level. Danger goes down very slowly. It's very bad to have it up high. Yeah, shame we had to get light tanks this early on, but we're not going to stop the assault gun rush. These light tanks cost 290 IP for a full battalion. Our assault guns will cost 220, and if we want to produce cheap assault guns, we can get them as cheap as 120 IP, which is absurdly cheap, as you may be aware. Yeah, it'll be very hard for them to push into either of these positions. This is a big stack, and we have Galactic Republic machine guns here. Oh, important to note, if you do deploy tanks with weak armor, make sure you never attack at anything less than full readiness. Because, ooh, that was crushing defeat for us. And this was, let me see, how bad was that? Did we... We only lost, yeah, so that was a good victory for us. The GR infantry are working. This isn't bad. We can hit them with the tanks this turn, potentially. But if you have low armor, then you do not want to, attack on low readiness because the armor reduces the enemy attacks by a percentage of their attack value, and it's opposed to your defense value. So if your defense value drops from your low readiness, then your low hit points are going to become very obvious when the enemy starts hitting you with all their attacks. Bureaucracy, this is what we wanted. There's a 40% boost. We're going to be hugely ahead because of that. Medium tanks unlocked. Very nice. Oh, awesome. We wanted a corporation. That'll boost our government. That'll be very, very good. Improve policy in favor of the cult. This is different than what I thought it was, but we will take it because we would love Eternity Gurus.
Standing by for
Alright, we're just gonna switch to, let me see. He got 157. And this takes 160. So even though we know we're gonna gain extra this time, to play it on the safe side, we'll go 100% into design models. We'll start a medium tank. And you know what? We're not going to build this, so for demonstration purposes, we'll do a 25mm howitzer, and we will look at how the hard defense value changes. And we'll do 150mm steel plating. This is about 7.5 times greater than infantry penetration, which means they only have 1 divided by 7.5 attack value. You divide their attack value by 7.5 effectively, which means very low attack value. And we'll do a light diesel engine because we gave it a small gun, so it can afford that.
Affirmative.
Normally, you would, at medium tanks, you do a medium diesel engine, and then in the next, the second variation, you would downgrade the medium diesel to a light diesel, because you don't know if you're going to roll well enough
Yes, sir. Roger that, sir.
on your engine roll to have the tank not be immobile, which is actually kind of a funny thing to have to worry about if you give it too small an engine. We're only 67 readiness, which is pretty bad. I don't like our danger score being up there. I really don't. However, I don't really want to attack at low readiness, but I can bring the militia in. The militia can screen. Oh, it's bad, don't attack at low readiness, but we have heavy armor. And the enemy's pretty weak. Okay, we'll try it. We'll try it. It's a bit dicey.
Let's go.
Got a hit. Mini hits. The white number hits, the red number kills. Our infantry did exactly their job. They got shot in our place, which is what we wanted. We wanted them to take hits so our armor would be safe. Your armor's pretty exposed when it's at low experience, and it's pretty exposed when it's at low readiness. You never want to attack at low readiness if you can help it. But now the enemy is in pretty bad shape. You'll notice they've suffered. They've got units routing in every battalion, and they. Actually, there's a regiment that's larger than a battalion, and they've got dead units, so we're going to break them pretty soon, I think. Yep, kills are going up. You'll notice we're gaining more than one hit per round, which is strange, because you'd think your units only have one attack per round. I think what's happening is they're firing on us, we're getting counterattacks. So we're having multiple counterattacks hit the enemy, which is part of why you want high armor, so that you can soak hits and counterattack. Alright, we'll check the details. Pinned. I want to look at the details because I want to show you. A Raider militia attack us. Attack start at minus 38%, that's probably readiness. No, readiness is 44%. So they had a penalty, then they had readiness, but their experience boosted them, but then they have a 72% penalty from the caliber difference. Now I predicted the penalty at 80%, but it seems like I was a little bit off. So it's a 72% penalty, so they're rolling 1.3 attack against our defense score of 446, reduced by readiness down to 372, increased by experience to 402. So they have a 1.3 out of 402% chance. It's 103 divided by 4.2. 402 is the probability of them hitting. So, to simplify that, they will hit something like 1 in... let's be generous, 1 in 300 shots. That is why you want armor and powerful weapon. It's very, very strong.
Operation successful.
Yep, completely, we killed 1,000 of them, we lost 200 infantry for it. If you're using unarmored tanks, you want infantry to screen for your tanks. You never want to send unarmored tanks in alone, because you saw how our infantry soaked hits. If we didn't have armor on these units, then the infantry soaking hits would be invaluable, because our tanks would just melt under enemy fire. Given that they have strong armor though, the infantry were less necessary, but I really didn't want to risk them early on. Alright, so move our tank forward. They are not going to break this. They can't break this. They can't do anything to it. Our field testing is up to already +9. That's pretty good. Our meritocracy is really high, actually. Martial tournaments would be awesome, but we won't get it for a while. Ideally, we would have an operational command by the time we started engaging with our armored units, but that doesn't look like it's gonna happen because we're already engaging and we're far off from wanting to build an operational command. I'm tempted to meet with the CEO to boost our government and lower our commerce, but we only have 13 points, and I'm pretty sure it costs a lot of power points to trigger that event, so we won't do it. Oh, I should have assigned the Eternity Guru. Right, the way you assign stratagems to units is click on the unit, click on the portrait of the unit, and click Strat, Thing, Execute.
Aye, aye, sir.
You don't want to execute from the stratagem window, because if you click target, then it shows you a list of all of your units, and that's too much work to scroll through. Okay, so he'll embed with 3 of the 4 sub-units that we have, and he will provide some sort of benefit to their morale, which is good because you don't want your tanks breaking when routing when they could just overwhelm the enemy. That's a common cause of armored rushes failing, is low morale on your tanks. Considering our tanks are our only military units, we could potentially raise the military salary to raise their morale, but we're not concerned with that, so we won't. It's supposed to be an armored, an assault gun rush, but we are getting attacked instead and defending with light tanks. I guess this is a necessary, this is something you need to be prepared to do when you're rushing assault guns, because rushing assault guns means you have weaker infantry, and you have, because the alternative is really you go something like, maybe you go for military research into design council, and then you get automatic rifles, and then you get padded enviro suits, and then your infantry have twice the hit points and twice the firepower, and that's pretty good. If we needed to be very defensive, if the enemy had tanks, we could theoretically use our model design council to research RPGs. We could use it to upgrade our infantry with carbines instead of the weaker guns that they're using now. Wow, they're flanking us pretty badly. We may have to pull back a tile just because of the sheer volume of enemy troops. This is one of these, like, raider factions that can knock you out early on. Yeah, if you try to defend this with machine guns, it can be kind of tough because the machine guns don't do so well against the buggies. BB production. Alright, we completed the dragon. Now, let's look at this. For demonstration purposes, our dragon, ooh, pretty good, pretty good. Its weapon design's 88, so it's not hugely behind in weapon design, but it has a much smaller gun. Look at its hard defense, 59. Right? Right? You're running the calculations in your brain now, huh? Looking at that and you're thinking, 59 hard defense? This thing would melt! It would melt, and this thing actually has 150mm steel plating. So the fact that it would melt says something about it, right? What you want to do ideally is have the most firepower and the most armor possible. If you have a hard attack weapon, theoretically your hard defense is much, much higher, which means you're actually harder to kill if you use a hard attack weapon, which is a peculiar balancing thing because it could very well be that light units are attacking you, so it's weird that you don't suppress them more efficiently with a soft attack weapon, but that seems to be the balancing. So this dragon's not really usable. It would be if we redesigned it with a bigger gun, but I guess it's cheap. I guess it's cheap. Okay. I think we can go in alone. Let's check though. 84, so our readiness has gone up. We are gonna push into these guys then, and we'll see what these tanks do alone.
Bring in the tanks!
Yep. That's
Operation successful.
5 kills. We killed 5 sub-units. One of them was trucks. Trucks don't really matter. They're non-combat units, so killing them is not a big deal. There's not enemies down here. That's not good. I think we'll sweep in like that. We're not going to attack them. I think we pull this guy back so that we have someone in the capital. Mostly we want to keep them out of 2 hexes of our capital, which we're not doing so well right now, you'll notice. If they step in within 2 hexes, then that's enough to raise the danger. Danger increased 3 points from the units that moved here, I think it was. Model design council 90%, that's fine. We'll hire your candidate. Maybe so always accept candidates even from factions you don't like, because it's possible the candidates won't share the faction values. We're gonna not get a new org yet. We're still rushing assault guns. So no new org. We designed a medium tank. We did not get assault gun unlock, so we'll go to discovery. Potentially if we'd have been like had a bunch of bureaucratic points and we'd have been 50-50, we might have designed and discovered on the same turn, even though the discovery required the design to be unlocked.
Affirmative.
We'll flip around, that's not so bad, no new orders. We'll boost meritocracy
Yes, sir.
and make the Eternity Movement happy, and I will catch you guys next time.